If you watched last week, you saw me head over to Keith's workshop where he taught me how to shave my lowers. Well, we're back for part 2, but this time we're doing a little bike tour. Keith's gonna show us his collection, so let's go walk through these bikes and see what he's got.
But
Jeez.
I don't know.
That bike's all nice and shiny too.
This is what I'm building for Otto. I just finished it, so
wow.
I need to put the throttle cable in grips and waiting for the seat to come back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. So for those of you who don't know, which if you're local, you already know, but if you're not local and you're watching, Otto is a good friend to all in the chopper community, and he runs our local cycle swap. Is it just the cycle swap on page, Instagram, which I'll link below. He also is connected with Builtwell and a bunch of other event planning. He's the man. So this beautiful thing right here, Keith is almost done. Mm-hmm. Gonna be for your man Otto. You'll probably see him ripping around on it in no time.
So
did he give you any specifics, or did you just go with your heart on this one?
He said he wanted it kind of quick and dirty.
Nice.
You know, or you just wanted it done.
I mean, it looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I say I kind of went the opposite direction with it. One of the things that was killing me, this took 6 months, almost to the day, to finish. Tomorrow will be 6 months, and he was like, oh, you just spray paint the tins, just do this or that, or and ended up coming out a lot nicer than I suspected. But it even gets me where I'll be polishing the triple trees or the lowers, the sissy bar, or doing certain parts, and I'm like, fuck, this got a scratch here, this got...
Did you rattle can those tins?
No, Bob did those.
I was gonna say, they do not look like it.
Yeah. No, the frame is VHT high temp chassis paint, which Bob wanted to paint the frame, but kind of talked him out of it, because now if anything gets messed up, or you change the pipes and you want to put different brackets on there and all, you just cardboard behind it and rattle can it, and it looks the same. You can touch everything up. But he kind of gave me the liberty to do what I wanted, or there's certain things like, I want to do this way, and I put big twin rocker boxes on it, went 4 over. He wanted to keep the fender tabs on the front end, but convinced him to get a cheap $50, $60 fork brace instead, where you can just bolt the center in and out. Yeah. So if you want to put a fender on it, you just buy a second one and you mount it to that instead. And then when you don't want it, you're not going on a trip where it might rain or something.
I like the way it looks.
Yeah, I think it's pretty sanitary. One thing, the pipes stick out really far, so I'm gonna have to either cut them down or figure out what the fuck's going on with lowbrow's pipes. It would be an active effort to keep yourself from burning.
I was gonna say, he's pretty tall, right? So at least when he's got his feet up, he should be fine. But when he puts his feet down,
yeah, it's gonna be pretty rough.
Right there.
One of the things I just posted the other day about was where the petcock is.
Oh yeah.
It has to make this hard 180-degree bend, and I put a piece of stainless tubing on the inside to keep the hose rigid. The cable or the hose for the front brake line was just a little bit too long, and I wanted to kind of have a sanitary path for it. I hate when the cable's rubbing up against the wheel and everything. Yeah. And so just a bunch of little P-clamps. And then this was actually from a pair of White's boots, the tongue or toe protector.
Yeah, that's smart.
I thought those were little,
custom work.
Little touches that, I'm proud of, so.
Do you have a seat picked out for it yet?
Yeah, Bad Gasoline's covering it right now, so that should be back any day. I'm looking forward to actually getting to ride it for a minute, and then, make sure there's no issues with it, and then
break it in.
Yeah, pass it along so I can get back to one of the, 30 projects I've got going.
Yeah.
Anywhere I can for the sissy bar or anything like that, I'll use the eyelets, so that when you're actually strapping something to it, you have somewhere to hook,
I'm surprised more people don't do that. That makes so much sense.
So I started it on this because to check my oil, I have to take my seat off.
Yeah.
And then this, you just shove a Sharpie through or just something and
hook it on.
Yeah, and then, you just hook to it, and it's so much easier. This was kind of a cool Have you ever seen the license plates on vans that flip down in the front so that you can work on it? When I first got this thing on the road, the first, kind of as it was before, rode it for like 100 miles around town and then immediately went on a trip to Born Free down the coast with it, whatnot. And I had a bag on the back and it was like on top of the license plate. And I was like, you couldn't see it. So I figured, well, you're not going to see the license plate anyway, but with the iridescent bulb, you can still at least see the taillight when you do this and have like a luggage rack. So
yeah.
But really, it's just an idea, like I said, ripped off of the step ladder kind of front license plates for vans. But this was my entry for Born Free 2 years ago. Oh. And I showed up 30 hours late. I showed up at midnight, Saturday morning. So I was there for the actual show. I was supposed to be there, I think, like
the day before,
3 o'clock on Thursday. But spent 66 days of the build period in South Korea for work. So I kind of feel like I...
Damn, that's cool.
Kind of earned that, extra 30 hours. But
yeah.
It was, I could have
jet lagged and everything.
Yeah. I could have had something to present while I was, be there on time and have something to present, but it wouldn't have ran. And that was really important to me.
Yeah.
So I spent, the last 2 days or, day and a half.
I'm happy they just changed the rules this past year that the bike has to run to win.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't a rule before, and I thought that was so dumb.
Same thing with the People's Champ,
Yeah.
The ride, I'm really into that. It's kind of a cool, the one that is the best bike in the show to me is the one that I want to ride, or like that I see it and I get excited, like I want to see what that's like, I want to experience it, but.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And this one over here.
Yeah, this is my 48 pan, kind of my coming of age story in choppers specifically. I had old bikes or, my bike when I was in high school was a 77 shovel. And this, I had just gotten back from a deployment and it was posted on Marketplace late at night. And I was working third shift and was just messaging the guy back and forth. Ended up with it. It had sat in a dirt floor shed for 30 years. And I rebuilt the car, rewired it, did a few little things, put the girder front end that the original owner had, or the previous owner had on it. When he had parked it, he didn't have fork stops on this front end. And the kids would go in the shed and play with it. And
it would hit.
The nuts on the girder would bash into the tank.
Yeah.
So he put a wide glide back on it, but this front end came with the bike. And so I put it back on there, and when I bought it, the guy was like, yeah, you have to find another frame because the tank's been molded into the frame and, this and that. You're probably going to want to restore it. I was like, nah, man, like I want to ride it the way that it was. Like, I want to appreciate it the way that, your father envisioned it and, whatnot. But
that's cool.
One of those things are like, of course, nobody was there to witness it or nobody, it's like, oh, yeah, sure, dude, whatever. But it sat for 30 years and it started first kick and it like surprised me. I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're not expecting it to.
I like this little thing.
Yeah, you're not expecting it to start, whatnot. And then, but this thing's been good to me.
And so now you're thinking of just doing a new little iteration.
So the bushings are really worn out in the front end, and I've got a different set of bars that I've been wanting to run on something that are internal throttle. And I just got a 21 hamburger wheel from Albert. So I'm like, I'm gonna put a front brake on it for a little bit, put one of my octagon lower leg front ends.
Team front brake. Woo, 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 team front brake, because there's a lot of people who are front brake haters and I'm not one of them.
See, okay, I have no issue with front brakes. My thing is, it's either no brakes or dual disc. It's one or the other. One thing I cannot stand is when you run a front brake and then you still do jockey shift. It's just a personal thing. If you do it, cool, whatever. But I think you're a clown because, like, to me, it's the aesthetic of the bars being,
clean,
nothing on the bars, nothing on the front end, less cables and whatnot. If you're doing front brake and then jockey shift, like, dude, just fucking run a foot clutch. Like people used to steal entire bikes when they went to a foot shift. People would steal entire bikes just to get the jockey lid off and put a ratchet top on their bike because it's all. There's a reason why it's the standard.
Yeah,
it's way quicker to shift. It's better. Like, it is cool to ride with a jockey shift, but like,
I'm not running a jacket.
Yeah. I mean,
I just barely tried it for the first time recently, and it was scary.
Yeah, the air cleaner you pointed out, that is one that I machined.
I love it. It's so cute.
It's a 53% scale version of the old STF Mini Ed, which is a miniature version of like the Hot Rod Edmund air cleaner.
It's a mini.
Yeah, so it's the minier Ed, just big enough for the linker. It's one of one. I keep saying eventually I'll make a couple more of them, and that's been since 2018, so it's probably not going to happen. But wrote it for a couple years as it was, with the old, molded stuff, and then the engine was leaking oil from every possible place. The oil tank was leaking. I'd get 80 miles out of refilling the transmission. The tank had cracked up here, and then it was leaking through the frame and coming out like right at my crotch. And I'm like, okay, like I can deal with oil, but when there's fuel on my crotch, it's kind of not.
Yeah, you don't want your dick on fire.
Yeah, not the burn you want, But so anyway, then I built it into what it is today. I kept the same silhouette, but sent the tins to Nathan Sykes, and he painted that, and I painted the frame and molded the frame. But yeah, one of my philosophies is build it clean and then just ride it and let it age by itself. It's a rider, it's been put away wet a lot, but it's always, gotten me where I need to go.
So when you finish Otto's bike, is this what you're going to move on to?
This is going to go up on the lift. I'm going to do a set of the Octagon 41 tapered lowers and then swap out to that. And then I have some like riserless T-bars that are internal throttle that I'll be putting on there.
Yeah.
This I did not build. This was built by Mike Plinsky of Old STF in 2013. It originally started as a show class People's Champ bike. I think he didn't make the top 13. And then somebody fell out of Born Free as an invited builder. And Mike or Grant reached out to him, and he became an invited builder at that point. Right when I met Mike, he had sold it already. And it was the year that he had built it. He had sold it to a guy and was doing service on it right before, he kind of handed it over. So, and I was like 19 or 20 at the time. And I was like, cool, just another shop. And somebody had way too much money to put into a bike. You're like, whatever, cool. Never paid any mind because it was so far out of my realm. And fast forward about 6 years, did pretty well with work. And, after a couple deployments and this and that, I saved money. And the guy just was like, hey, I'm thinking about selling this. Could you do the service on it again and, get it running and whatnot? And I just kind of threw out not low ball, but like a too good to be true kind of offer. And after some conversations, kind of was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So Mike and I ended up driving to Colorado Springs from here on a 4-day weekend, picking it up, and broke down on the way there and kind of had to MacGyver, some stuff to get it back home. And it's
there's a lot of cool shit on this bike, okay? So people who are watching, if you're not paying close attention, pay closer attention, because this exhaust, first of all, crazy work. Like this whole going around.
The 2-into-1 and disappearing underneath the transmission.
It's like
and coming
secret.
Out,
This right here, all being like connected, looks super cool. You've got a tank shift on it.
Yeah, tank shift to a ratchet top. And then when you sit on it, your elbows are on your knees, and then to shift, it's just right there.
The oil tank coming like this.
Matching the nacelle,
Yeah, this is shark fin situation thing happening.
The oil tank is casted from other like Harley aluminum that was just in one of our buddies' backyards.
Yeah, and then also
the Frenched in tail light.
I was just gonna say this Frenched in, but the whole cap over the shocks matches kind of like the whole look on the front. Yeah,
the front end's narrowed. It's one of the Mullins narrowed. I think Richmond spool hubs. Tanks are narrowed, I think, 1.25 inches. Even the dash is narrowed about 1/8 of an inch. Like, super silly, but everything on this bike, Mike kind of refers to it as his tuxedo bike.
Yeah.
It's tailored to him. It was
for him
to, Yeah. So it's been really cool. It's kind of cool bringing it back to Yuba City and, kind of like I said, a lot of sentimental value on this thing. So.